Welcome back everyone to our live meeting, and we're just welcoming Andrew Don to our next item, which is the Puahui land disposal option. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you. Zoe, can I have that plan up, please? So this is the Puahui Cemetery. It has a very low use. There's been one interment per year over the past 12 years. Currently, we have about 3,000 square metres of land which is actively used, which is the land to the south. And there's about 5,880 square metres which has never been used for burials. Our concept plan, there was a lot of work done in 2021 around our cemeteries, and our concept plan confirms that 1,200 square metres could be retained, would be sufficient for ongoing cemetery operations on this site. We're proposing to subdivide off the land and on-sell it. The proposal is supported by our property strategy objective, which is to optimise underutilised assets. This disposal is built into our LTP financial assumptions with a projected value of 500K. That's a gross profit, I have to say, in 2026-27. While significance has been assessed as low, there is an identified risk of community, iwi, mana whenua concern that will need to be managed. I've been instructed to propose amending the recommendations to state that the information, should council agree, should be subject to engagement with all relevant mana whenua and iwi interests in the area prior to the finalisation of the disposal process. Happy to take any questions.
Shane.
I note there's a house there, so are they not interested to purchase that land?
Are they what, sorry?
I don't know can you tell us a little bit about, I can see a house and the land's right beside the house. Mm-hmm. Are they not interested in purchasing that particular piece of land?
Through the chair, they may well be, but we will take it to the public. We will market it, and we have to take it to the market to get the best price for it. So we wouldn't necessarily go to the owner and ask them if they want to buy it.
Okay. So are you suggesting that once it's developed and we take that development risk, that it's worth 500,000 or not, or?
So what I've suggested is that the land will be worth around $500,000 once we've got it ready for sale with its own title.
And the subdivision costs, what are they?
187,500. These are worksheet, councillor.
Yeah, I see the worksheet, but I'm just trying to understand, what are we doing? Are we spending that money ourselves?
Yeah, so what I'm asking to do is to get approval to sell the property. In order to do that, we're going to have to spend $187,500. That's on page 6. So the net profit is going to be around 253,000. Currently, we have a lady grazing a horse on it for free.
And there is holding costs associated with maintaining, mowing, things like that, right? So those aren't in this report, but there is always a cost of holding.
Les?
That cost of subdividing, it seems a lot. What's the major cost for out of that 120,000?
There's legal is estimated at 5,000. Sale commissions probably 15,000. I haven't allowed any profit and risk in my workings. This is all on page 6 of the report. So I guess the major cost is the roading, the survey, and the connections, development contributions.
Okay, and is it going to be one title? I noticed it's can be actually, or could actually be two titles for lifestyle blocks.
No, we can only get one title from it.
Okay.
Any further questions? No, Joe's just going to share our resolution on the screen because there have been some changes there. Okay, I won't read them all out, only that the change is that it's subject to engagement with all relevant mana whenua and iwi with interests in the area. So that's the only change to that. So if I can have someone move. Once everyone's happy. Pip and oh, sorry, Claire.
Was another question I wanted to ask. I saw that Mr. Park donated the land for it and that he has died. But did you try and contact any of his descendants or family members? It wasn't that clear in the
Oh, was it not?
no, so you try and see, because often if something's gifted and it's not needed, it's often returned to the family if possible. Just said that there was, it sounded like he didn't have any family members. That's all.
We undertook a detailed disposal report, and we traced the history back to 1887, and we had it confirmed that it was available. I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. I think he probably still has family in the area, but the land was yeah. So we're not really obliged to. It's not an offer back situation.
I know we're not obliged to offer it back, but normally if something's been gifted and then it's not required for that purpose, the family is usually contacted just to see, so they're aware of it and that they might, I don't know if they just want it back or anything, but just so they know what's happening. I
Certainly.
mean, you must be aware of other instances where you've dealt with property that was gifted and then no longer needed by council. We have actually gone back to the families concerned. It might not.
Typically we do, yes, yeah.
I think it'd be quite good to do that. in
Yeah,
this
certainly
case.
can do that.
That was a good question.
Just noting that this isn't our disposal program in our LTP. So, I mean, we need to do it, right? We've committed to do it. But I take the point, Claire, that we do need to reach out. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm happy to support the recommendation and that, provided that those safeguards are in place and the proper process is followed, yeah.
Yeah.
And totally accept that it is part of our disposal program, yeah.
It'll come back for our final approval. Okay. So you're happy to move it and Dean, you're happy to second? Okay, all in favour? Yes, aye. Great, thank you very much. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
Right, our next item is council committees and appointments, and we're welcoming Joe Greed up to present this report.
Thank you. So the purpose of this report today is twofold. The first is to present a memo from the Mayor, who has made an amendment to his committee structure to fill a vacancy in the Mangatōtari Reserve Committee with a Ngāti Hawa representative. And the second is to consider appointing another member to the Heritage Advisory Subgroup that currently has Councillor Gordon and Councillor Taylor on it. And that group has the responsibility for assessing applications and allocating the Heritage Fund. That's its specific purpose. So an additional member will just help in case someone's away or got a conflict, and just in this scenario of a divergence of views. So if you're minded to appoint an additional member to that group. Does anyone have any questions on that?
No. So in our resolution, we have added councillor Morgan as our Heritage Advisory subgroup member. So we will add her in there. Do you need to share that or can I just? Yeah. Yeah, okay, great. All right, so we will, so there were no further questions to that? No, okay, so we'll receive Joe's report, receive the Mayor's memorandum, and we'll appoint councillor Morgan as that additional representative on the Heritage Advisory Subgroup. So can I have someone move that, please? Pip will move that and Dean will second it. Thank you. And all in favour? Oh, Roger, please.
Have we determined the name of the additional?
Yes. Yes, councillor Morgan. Yes. No, all good. Okay, all in favour? Aye, great, thank you. Carried. Right, and now we're going to welcome, I think Zoe's just going to grab them. Yes. Good. Hi, David, and welcome Simon and Kirsty. Lovely to see you both. Thank you for being here. And I'll hand over to you, David.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Today I'll present you with the Cambridge Town Hall Community Trust Statement of Intent 2026-27 and update. I seek leave to take the report as read and here to present the annual statement of intent from the Cambridge Town Hall Community Trust is Chair Kirsty Johnson and Simon Brew, GM of the Trust.
Great. So I'd like to hear from you folks first, and then we'll go to our general questions. Thanks.
Awesome. Kia ora koutou. Thank you for having us here today, Simon and I. I know there are a few new faces around the table since we last came and presented. And so I thought this is an opportunity to present our statement of intent for 26-27. But at the risk of repeating myself to some of you that have heard this a million times, also a good opportunity for us to give you a bit of background into the trust. So we thought we'd take a bit of a look back today. Right in here. Yeah. Today to give you a bit of what we've achieved in the last 12 months or so and the momentum that we've gained over that time. And then of course cover off our statement of intent. So the trust was formed in early 2021. We worked really closely with council and the model for the trust is similar to the one that the pools run, Go Waipa. So the vision for the trust is to be relevant, vibrant and connected for the town hall. Our vision is our mission is to breathe life into the Cambridge Town Hall and its environs by providing a thriving facility at the heart of our community. And hopefully today we'll show you that we're really living into that mission. Very early on in the trust, we set our principles and these are pretty much what we live by. So we want to honour the legacy of the Cambridge Town Hall and its unique location. We want the Cambridge Town Hall to be at the heart of an evolving community, to draw people together for celebration, entertainment, safety, remembrance, mourning and solace, and to be a place to learn, to share, and to showcase people's creativity. As a trust, we acknowledge the place of mana whenua in our work. We are enterprising, innovative, responsive, and creative. We are excellent stewards, financially responsible, and accountable for the public resource. And we partner with many people and groups so that our town hall is for everybody. So the trust is guided basically by our trustee, which sets out the way that we operate. And when the trust was formed, one of the key things that we put in place was the lease and services agreement with the Waipa District Council. And this took us a bit of time to get right, just over a year, I think, we spent negotiating that. Effectively, the agreement allows the trust to lease the Cambridge Town Hall for a period of 33 years, not about, it is 33 years. And the council must pay the trust an annual amount to meet the obligations that we have under that agreement. Within the lease and services agreement, Section 7 is all about our planning process And we do that, we align to the council planning process. So we're obligated to do a strategic plan every 10 years, which is due for renewal next year. We also have a 10-year asset management plan so that we know what's required to maintain the town hall. And then annually we produce our statement of intent so that the council and us, of course, are clear on what we plan to achieve in the next 12 months. So Simon works pretty closely with council staff, and I'd like to acknowledge and thank David Barco and Chris Ryan for all of their time and support. The relationship that we have between the trust and council has always been pretty strong, and I look forward to continuing that. And then I just want to talk a little bit about our strategy as a general, and this is in our statement of intent. But our strategy really centres around three key principles: connect, activate, and enhance. So connect is all about bringing the community on a journey with us. We know that they need to know what we're doing and be on board with what we're doing. Activation is about our operations, basically. The key things in the operational space are about activating the hall and about looking after what we've got. We've changed the operational model since we started. So you used to get handed a key and then you could go in and let loose in the hall. Now we have staff on site for every event that's there. The trust has been leading events in the hall so that we can test what's possible and also what works for the community. What I will say is that it's been no small task to Simon and the team to lead the change in culture that's been required for the community. But they've done a great job and built some really strong relationships along the way. So what we've tried to do is build an operating model that can take us into the future. We've had a few years of running the town hall now, and we continue to grow our understanding about what works in the hall and what doesn't, and the kinds of funding and resource it takes to run the hall. Enhance is all about capital works. So the trust has had two very clear intentions in this space. Firstly, refurbish the Edwardian and Victorian rooms, which I'll show you shortly. And secondly, to undertake a major transformation of the whole town hall, building a space that's fit for purpose for the next 50 to 100 years. So on the screen, you'll see our current trustees. I won't list them because I'm sure you've all familiar with a lot of these people, but I would like to thank them for the tireless passion, the time and the expertise that they put into the Cambridge Town Hall. These are volunteers. And last year was really rewarding for our trustees, I think, where all of the foundations that we've kind of laid in the last 4 or 5 years have finally come together. We have an amazing pool of talent around the table. And we've got a new trustee, Josh, who's only been with us a week or so, a month or so. And we know that Beth will soon be leaving us, so we are on the hunt for another couple of trustees, if you hear of anyone. Just before I hand over to Simon, I wanted to touch on the Stage 1 works, which is the work that we completed last year. And this is a pretty fantastic project to have under our belts. The budget for the project was 2.8 million, and we came in under that. So we came in under by $108,000. And just to be clear, that wasn't an accident. It was a result of careful planning, of good project management, and things were in and out to make sure that that happened. And what it means is that we've been able to use those reserved funds towards further repairs and maintenance in the hall. So just last month, we had the wallpaper done in the main hall, which was awesome. And we're really pleased that we had Mana Whenua input into the space. Kauri Winakiri designed all the artwork for the operable doors, and the operable doors in the Victorian room, and also had input into the colour palette for those spaces. And Ngāti Koriki Kahukura actually opened the space for us afterwards, which was great. So I thought we'd just share a few pictures of the renovations. I'm sure most of you have been through there anyway, but this is sort of when they were demolishing things and took all of the wood off the Victorian room and painted it and put it back in there, which was great. We were able to reuse lots of things. You can see there we redesigned the curve in the roof line there and the ceiling. So this is the Victorian room. So the Victorian room had a complete refurbishment, including a new kitchenette and bar, double operable doors, which make the space really flexible, and 2 new toilets, which you can just see the outside of there. And this is just a couple of layouts in that same space. So you can see it's quite functional now. And then in the Edwardian room, so we replaced the dated and domestic kitchen with a commercial grade kitchen. And the bar facility was replaced, and also those, oops, go back. The Ratley doors there that you can see going into the main hall were rehung. But most importantly, we've now got air conditioning through the main hall and the 2 spaces, which has made the space a lot more usable. So I'll hand you over to Simon to talk a little bit about some of our operational wins.
Thank you, Kirsty. So just looking back, we haven't seen you in just over a year, so thought I'd just touch on a couple of the operational items in the last period. So a couple of highlights. Last year, we presented our first season launch, and some of this was repackaging existing or external hires, but presenting it in a more cohesive way to better showcase what the hall actually does, and also then presenting our own items. The venue hire was up by 19% on the previous year, which was already a busy year in itself. And that is despite the fact that we had reduced access to the building by 6 months with renovations. So that was a really good achievement. We've also received some significant funding, so $160,000 from the Lyceum Club to help with accessibility at the venue. And we also could use our $36,000 from the Cambridge Lions for a new piano. So that was really good. We've also launched a new online donor program, and we've got a bunch of inaugural supporters, and we had 2 campaigns last year that were supported. We've also started to see a growth in our income streams from equipment that we've been purchasing, and that's things like sound systems that we now own, we now can hire out to people using. So that's some revenue coming in, and bar sales are increasing. And for those I know who are interested, our permanent license is currently being considered. So any day we may have a permanent on license for the venue. So it's be a good day when that comes in. Just as a side point, I thought I might share, because it's a community facility and you provide us an operational grant, I just thought I'd share the cost of hiring the hall and a few stats around that. So since 2021, 2022, we've taken a gradual and balanced approach to increasing the hire fees of both the whole hall and the upgraded Victorian room, while keeping a strong activation in the hall. So the commercial rates have actually been stepped up to better reflect the market rate and noting council's investment, with the whole complex increasing by 223% in the last few years, and the half-day rate by 100%. So that's for commercial hires. And then a similar number for the Victorian room, 359% for commercial hires for a half-day, and 190% increase for a full day. Community rates have also increased between 66 and 267%, depending on the space and duration. So though they remain lower, and that they will remain lower than the commercial pricing. We know some of the community feel that halls should be heavily subsidised or actually free. So we're constantly balancing that expectation with the need to generate a fair return for council's investment in the building while keeping the building accessible. So I just thought that's something to share. That's a constant navigation for us, but we're slowly taking that number higher. I just thought I'd share some event images just very quickly. So quartets, Bukarama obviously is a very popular event. Taisha Tari, very popular artist. A party bus even came from Tikawiti for that concert, which is great. Local school choirs. We had numerous lunchtime concerts by school groups last year. And of course, Creative Fibre. And look, there's so many more. The beers and board games, etc., were all a hit. Just some feedback. Last year we did a subscriber feedback from those who are on our subscriber database, which is a little over 1,100 at the moment. And it's just a little bit of a snapshot up there of people from the district and surrounding districts. of what they're sort of saying about the building. The feedback highlights a strong connection with the town hall, pride in its revitalisation, and a real appreciation of the increased activity and improved spaces. We also asked, amongst many questions, when people attend events at the town hall, do they spend locally? And so if you can see that, we can see quite a few people, retail shopping, cafes, restaurants. Accommodation is low. I just point out that these are our subscribers who are basically locals. Anyway, but it's really good to see that when people come to an event at the town hall, they're also spending locally. Every hirer receives a feedback form post their hire. So just a couple of stats there. Hall utilisation in the last period was a little bit down due to renovations, but not bad. So that's one of our KPIs that just dipped. Of our survey to hirers, I just thought I'd show these two questions just to continually show that to the best of their knowledge, when they run an event, so not one of our events, where do people come from? And we do have a bit of a spread. Of course, with all those surveys, it's hard to get people to always fill them out, but we are seeing some good numbers there. Just stepping quickly through our SOI, there's a few mostly achieved. There's a little dip there in our usage. We had some great engagement with Mana Whenua through the design process and development of the spaces. However, we didn't host a wānanga. So in philanthropic support, I put partially achieved. So as I noted at the beginning, we did get a donation of 160,000. Where I was hoping this would more sit would be donations from the likes of our subscribers. So we did get a good number in, but we didn't achieve the 24,000 just from donations. And the master plan is ongoing. So just very quickly, we've talked about the master plan. It's the second phase of what we are doing for the building to fix up the remainder of the building. I think it's important to say cosmetically, the hall is looking much better. The side rooms have been refurbished and the recent wallpaper in the hall has lifted the space. And to many people, it probably feels like the building is close to done. But in reality, it's actually not. There's still significant challenges that we need to address through the master plan. So the back of house, the backstage, the stage itself, which we can't actually use, the foyer, and of course the upstairs gallery. And I know there is a tour offered to councillors later in March. And I think we can show you the parts which still have some warts and all versus the pretty cosmetic parts that you can see. So there's just a bit of work to still do. So we're back on track with that. And with that, I'll hand over to Kirsty to follow up. Sorry, I did miss that slide, but it summarises what I said.
Awesome. Thanks, Simon. So today we're here to present effectively the statement of intent for 2026-27, to answer any questions that you might have on that and take your feedback on it. So you may have noted that our original statement of intent came out for the December meeting last year, which we didn't end up attending, and I'd like to firstly apologise for that. As a trust, we're acutely aware of the financial position of the council at the moment and the challenges that you face. And what we actually did was took a moment to reflect on our long-term position and our own strategy to make sure that it was the correct one to take, especially given the level of capital funding that we don't have in the long-term plan, which is zero. There's nothing in there at the moment. And so while the timing of that wasn't great, it created some really robust discussions within our trust. And what has resulted from that is just a renewal and united commitment back to that strategy and our future plans. So we landed exactly where we started, with the master plan being a firm focus for the future of the town hall, just like Simon's mentioned. So from that, we'll take the statement of intent as read, and we're open to any questions, comments, feedback.
Thanks, Kirsty. I have time for just a couple of questions. So Roger and then Shane.
Yes, thank you very much. Great couple of years you've had, and really impressed with what has happened to our town hall. And it's great to see the variety of events coming into town. And what, you got kind of 70% daily occupancy of the of the town hall or something like that, which,
Yeah, it's sitting, last year, I think we hit something like 270 days of the year had something
Yeah.
in the hall, yeah.
that's incredible. The experience of it being used for the citizenship ceremonies, I can't think of a better place to use for that. You've done a lot of work on the cinema upstairs. Are you getting much use of that? And what do you see as the use of that going forward?
Yeah, I think the upstairs has had a lot more exposure because we've taken a number of tours up there and had a bit of a clean up. At this stage, it still probably sits as a space we need to restore, and I'm sure you'll enjoy seeing that on a tour. It's our most desired visitor experience, the upstairs. But there has been a lot of images and videos of us being up there doing some work, and we've done some tidying up, but it needs a lot more work to really be a public space. Access, etc., is really a difficulty there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other is possibly a question to look at the future. We've seen in Hamilton with the recent theatre that's been opened that there is a major naming sponsor that's actually got behind that, and obviously that would have cost them quite a considerable amount of money. Do you see that as an opportunity? I don't know whether I'd 100% like something we call the ABC Town Hall, but is that an opportunity for some area of funding in the future?
I would say absolutely. It's something we've tossed up quite a lot, but we haven't landed anywhere just yet. I think we've got our master plan coming up, and once we have that master plan, we'll have something to actually take out to the public to start getting funding. So until we really start down that path, that's the next cab off the rank.
So you haven't closed your eyes to it being the something or other town hall?
Apologies, Roger. We are nearly at time for this item. I'd love to hear from Shane, Claire, and then Les. We have 2 minutes left. So if you could make your questions brief, that would be great because we have our next presenter waiting on Zoom. Thank you.
One thing I was disappointed with in this report was the financials. Performance against the budget. Now, in terms of a statement of intent, we give $600,000. We need, part of that is to have the confidence that you can develop a financial sustainable model over time. Now, I don't see any intent in the statement of intent of you heading in that direction. For example, what is your expected income annually every year for the next 10 years would be useful, so you can at least demonstrate that you're trying to increase your revenue. I note that you have your, you had a P&L in there, but it wasn't against the budget, it was just a P&L. In your 10-year plan, you had your expenses at 662,000. Your actual was 801, so that's 20% above where you said you were going to be. So I don't get any, I can't see the intent for financial management, and that really, really concerns me. And I think it's a risk that we need to be aware of. So I would like to see some focus in that particular area. I note that you got we give you 600,000, you got $400,000 in terms of salaries, for example. You know, what's happening in terms of trying to get that number down. I'd like to see those sorts of things in the report to give me confidence that you're heading in the direction that we need to see you heading in.
Yeah, I can answer, if it's okay, the difference between the 10-year plan and the 801, so the expense. So we do have some reserves because we've actually been very cautious in the last 3 years. So we have had some reserves, the likes of the $100,000 underspend from the stage 1, we can put then into repairs and maintenance. So for example, the wallpaper that we've just done, those expenses are realised here in the operational budget. So this is really saying, because we don't have in the long-term plan the numbers to do the master plan, we have pushed play on repairs and maintenance in the immediate time now to spend some of our reserves, because we don't know when that master plan will actually happen, if that makes sense. So we've delayed wallpaper for 3 years because we didn't want to spend money on wallpaper until we knew what the finish line was. Now we know the finish line is quite far out. We've brought that money forward, and so we're really activating some of our reserves from the last 3 years where we've been really cautious on spend. And actually a lot of those reserves are actually from underspending in salaries and wages. So we've actually understaffed ourselves to create that. That's actually created a bit of risk and a bit of issues our end. So we have created some reserves which we're now deploying in the next year.
Yep. So I think we need a little bit more transparency in seeing those things in terms of a P&L, actual versus budget, then explanation for why those things haven't done, but also looking forward to show us that there is an intent to get those finances under control.
So the finances come at a really high level from this, but they basically come from our 10-year strategy, which came out about 3 years ago. And so if you tracked actuals to budget, you would see a good picture. We haven't made that the focus of this, but we're very happy to share all those numbers with you.
Thanks, Kirsty. Claire's happy to leave her question because we have run out of time. Les assures me his is a brief one, so we'll go to him and then we'll finish there.
Okay, I just want to know your expenditures. How much is it to local businesses, and how much of it goes out to tender?
Yeah, so we try and keep as much local as we can. So when we did our stage 1 works, we kept it as local as possible. So we used local contractors to do the work, and it's one of our ratings that was very high on the scale to make sure that local was the preferred option.
We're in a time of value for money, that's all.
Thanks, Les. Thank you very much, Kirsty and Simon and David. So appreciate you coming, and you are absolutely fulfilling that mission of breathing new life into the town hall. It is such an amazing asset for Cambridge and the wider Waipa and the Waikato. So thank you so much for all of the work you're doing. We're really lucky to have that in our district. Right, so we are going to receive David's report, and we're going to receive the Cambridge Town Hall Community Trust's presentation. Adele Marie will move and Monty will second. All in favour? Aye, excellent. Thank you so much.
I'd like to report that I'm against receiving the report because it hasn't shown the intent that is tied up to us giving them $600,000.
Do you want your vote against record?
Yes, please.
Okay. Right, thank you. We're going to move on now, and we have Carol Billette online. Nice to see you, Carol. Thank you for joining us. And Jenny here Wilson reporting. So this is the Risk and Assurance Committee Annual Work Programme for 2026. Thanks, George.
All right, I'll just briefly open. So this is our standard reporting after our Risk and Assurance Committee meetings. We bring certain elements of that through to council. One of the things we're trying to do is really, I guess, share more and communicate more with the wider council. And so part of developing our terms of reference for this triennium, we either have the chair as Carol or the deputy chair as Councillor Gordon, reporting back to council on a quarterly basis. So I'll just hand over to Carol to talk to council about the committee.
Thank you, George. Look, I really just wanted to provide a quick overview. In December, the Risk and Assurance Committee met for the first time in the new triennium, and one of our key focus areas was on agreeing the work plan for the year ahead. You will have seen also in December that we had reviewed the annual report, and that came through and was approved by council in December. So great to have those two key pieces of work sorted. One of the key roles of the Risk and Assurance Committee is looking at major risks. And if we look at some really strategic projects that are going on over the next year, one of those is the annual plan and the other is the water transitions. And these two are really closely linked and affect each other. So the Risk and Assurance Committee is really pleased that we have PwC providing assurance as we're progressing on the water transitions project. And I understand that you would have heard from Jade and Aaron earlier today in your meeting. So you have all of the papers in your pack. I'm really happy to take any questions thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Any questions for Carol on her report? No? Any questions for George, Jenny? No, wonderful. Okay, thank you. Oh, Roger? Oh, no, you're going to move? Okay, great. Roger will move. Shane will second. All in favour? Please say. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you to you both. Thank you, Carol. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Right, and we have Helen here to speak to us about the dog control policy. Oh, she's just come in. Perfect timing. Take your time, Helen. That's all good. Not a worry. Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So I'm Helen, I'm the animal control team leader. And this is our annual dog control policy and practices report. So the period is for the 1st of July 24 to the 30th of June 25. We are a little bit later than what we would normally be with this report, just due to some scheduling issues around the regulatory committee meetings last year, and then we had a cancellation. Hence, we've come to council now. So I'll pretty much take the report as read, I think, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but it is an annual requirement and it's a requirement by the DIA.
Right, I have Roger and then Shane and then Dale Marie. Oh, and Claire, apologies. Roger.
Sorry, I thought Claire was first there. Look, I read the report and I see a lot. There was quite a big news article last night about the challenges that are being seen with aggressive dogs around the area, and that some of the challenges that animal control agencies like ourselves are having, that when you need to take action, sometimes that action is prolonged because of the time factor in dealing with it, and sometimes the dogs are released and back on the streets. Have you got any challenges of that nature that you see that should be addressed? And I know it's not part of the report, but I'd really be interested.
I mean, I guess in a lot of ways we are quite lucky in our district compared to some other districts in the country. But certainly we face challenges regularly, a lot of aggression with people that we're dealing with. So often we can't even enter properties without police assistance, and the police themselves are super busy. So they are very, very helpful, but obviously there's just time constraints there. I guess the other issue too is if we haven't taken many prosecutions, but a prosecution can end up with a dog being held in the pound for a year. Sometimes it's stretched to 2 years before we even get to court. So, you know, for obvious reasons, we can't be prosecuting a lot of cases at the same time, just simply due to space. But yeah, we do have quite a good relationship with most of our dog owners, and we work towards that, but there's always some that present challenges, absolutely.
Thank you, Roger. So Shane.
I wonder if you can clarify, and it's what's written in the report, which says the legislation around the disposal of seized, impounded, classified dangerous dogs is not practical, and staff can usually obtain better outcomes following the seizure of non-compliant classified menacing dogs. I wonder if you can explain what that means, please.
Certainly. So we have two types of classifications for dogs, and one is menacing, which requires, well, actually it's up to the individual council, but it requires desexing, which our council does require. It also requires a dog to be muzzled in a public place. Dangerous classification is much the same, but there's an additional requirement for the dog to be kept in a fenced enclosure on the property so that if anyone enters the property, they can get to one door of the dwelling without going through where the dog is. So in theory, that would be really helpful. But if we were in a position where we needed to seize a classified dangerous dog, the wording in the legislation says that the owner may apply at any time for the return of the dog. And in essence, we could take a court case to win and not to release the dog, but that we would have to go through those steps in order to do so. Everything else in terms of like the menacing classifications and other types of enforcement in the Act usually has a 7-day timeline that the owner can apply for the dog to be returned within 7 days or something along those lines. So we can work with that. But with the dangerous dog classification, it's at any time apply for the return. So that just makes it difficult unless we go down the court process. Yeah. So it's actually easier for us to seize a classified menacing dog, because then we have that ability to dispose of the dog after 7 days.
Thank you. Right, I have Dale Marie, then Claire, and then Les.
Tēnā koe. I just want to mihi firstly for a great report, because I just looked at a comparison, because I'm an elected member at the Community Board in Aruawahia, and seeing the difference, even though I know we're a bigger area and we've got a lot more dogs and owners. I also have a brother who is dog control up in South Auckland.
Oh,
so
wow.
he could probably share some great stories with you guys. But I did see that we have a drop in a few things. So I just want to mihi to you guys, because I do know where one of the dog control people lives, not far from Punia Road. And I know they do a fantastic job. Kia ora tātou.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Dale Marie. Claire.
Yeah, thanks, Helen. Yeah, great report. So I just wanted to sort of explore a bit more on the same line that Roger started, that, you know, we have had in the media, concern about the way councils perform their dog control functions. I think your report paints a pretty good picture for Waipa in that staff are proactive. You're taking an education process, you know, rather than enforcement or, you know, draconian to start with. Like, would you say that given the challenges that you have got, but that basically that where you have a problem identified, that you are able to, I suppose, work with the owners through that so that there's a good outcome? So that, I mean, what I'm trying to find out from you is, do you feel that Waipa residents, generally have a reasonable safety level because of the way the dog control team are working?
I like to think so, for sure. And certainly that is something we pride ourselves on, is that ability to work with people as much as possible. But we do reach a point sometimes with people where we just can't. And then, like I say, we are reliant on police and other agencies to assist us as well. Yeah, I think for the most part, we're a pretty safe community in terms of dog control. But there will always be dogs out there that, you know, and sometimes it's just human error. May not be an ongoing issue, but it might just be a one-off, you know, where a gate's been left open or what have you. So, but certainly any of those persistent issues, we do work pretty hard to try and manage them.
Yeah.
And it is frustrating if we have to end up returning the dog, but we just have to work with what we've got sometimes.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. Les.
Yeah, you may not be able to answer this question, but I see we use contractors in our own staff. Would it be, if our staff are cheaper, wouldn't it be better to offer longer work hours, or vice versa?
That's probably something that I would pass over to Kautati to answer, but certainly the existing contract finishes in June this year, and I guess, we will be going out to tender shortly on the contract, but did you want to perhaps answer that more fully, Cal?
Yeah, certainly through the chair. Yeah, that's definitely a consideration we look at every time this work's due to be tendered. What is the cost-effective approach, but also operationally, what advantages do the various arrangement options provide to council? So at the moment, the animal control component is part of a larger contract where we have one contractor providing a wide range of services under the one contract. So from a cost-effective point of view, those costs are spread across a number of different functions. We are currently investigating whether we can separate out the animal control functions into a separate contract, simply to allow us to manage it better, because the requirements for officers handling dogs are considerably different to some of the other activities that the contractor might be doing. So we want to try and identify the best skills to fit that. But certainly bringing the services back in-house or changing the way we operate after hours are definitely all options that are still in the mix prior to the contract going out for tender. But again, there's a whole range of other considerations. Generally, you don't want staff working by themselves after hours, so effectively your salary budget could be twice the size. There's a whole range of different things that we need to bear in mind there, but definitely in the mix.
Thanks, Carl. Any further questions for this report? No? Amazing. Okay. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Carl. Let's move that. We're just going to move that we receive Helen's report. Could I have something? Oh, Claire, and then Dean will second. And all in favour? Please say aye. Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you to you both. Right, and I'm going to invite Joe Greed to come up and present the council submission consultation on standing orders. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. So the purpose of this report is just for you to receive a submission that was made under delegated authority, and that related to draft standing orders that were being consulted on with the changes that are looking to come in with the Local Government Systems Improvements Bill. Does anyone have any questions?
Everyone's okay? Claire, you're happy to move that? Dale Marie, Dale Marie's happy to second. All in favour? Aye, excellent, thank you. And then our next item, actually our last item, is just the confirmation of those minutes from the 17th, our council meeting on the 17th of December, that they are read and confirmed as true and correct of that meeting. Could I have someone move that? Dean's happy and Pip will second. All in favour, please say aye. Great, thank you very much. Right, well, we will move to close the meeting now, and we will together say our closing karakia. Me te karaka. Oh, is that the right one? No. Oh, apologies. It's that one there. Okay. Puritia te rangimarie, puritia te aroha, puritia te nakapai, puritia nawawata, ke kororo e naro, humie e huie takie. Thank you, everybody.